and Playhouse. Thank you for supporting the arts. We really appreciate that. I'm Nancy Martin. I've directed this production of A Christmas Carol for Theater West Virginia. We encourage you to sit back, settle in, and enjoy yourselves. And have a Merry Christmas.
Marley was dead to begin with. There's no doubt whatsoever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergy, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Ebenezer Scrooge signed it, and his name was good to anything he wished to put his hand upon. Now Scrooge knew that Marley was dead. I mean, how could it be any otherwise? The two of them had been partners for, I don't know how many years. And Scrooge never even bothered to paint Marley's name out on the sign above the door. There it was, for years afterwards, Scrooge and Marley's. Scrooge and Marley. That was the name of the firm, and sometimes people new to the business referred to Scrooge as Scrooge, and sometimes they referred to him as Marley. But he answered to both names. It mattered very little one way or the other to him. Now Scrooge was Marley's sole friend, his sole administrator, sole business partner, and his sole mourner. And even Scrooge wasn't so dreadfully cut up with the sad event that on the very day of Marley's funeral, he solemnized an undoubted pardon. Now, the mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. Jacob Marley was dead as a doornail, and you must distinctly remember that, or nothing good will come from this story. Once upon a time, of all good days of the year, Christmas Eve, old Scrooge.
That's me, Ebenezer.
Old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. All but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, coveted old sinner, hard and sharp as flint from which no fire had ever been struck. Now the cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and he spoke out shrewdly in a grating voice.
Humbug.
He iced his office in the dog days, and he didn't thaw it out one single solitary degree at Christmas time. It was cold, bleak, biting weather, and the door of Scrooge's counting house was open, so that he might keep his eye upon his faithful clerk, who sat busy beside him copying letters. Now Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so much smaller that it looked like one single coal. All of a sudden the door burst open, and in came Scrooge's nephew.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Bah! Humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle. You don't mean that, I'm sure.
I do. What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Come then. What reason have you to be sad? You're rich enough.
Bah! Humbug.
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas. What's Christmas but a time providing yourself another year older and not another hour richer? If I can work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart he should.
Uncle.
Nephew, Keep Christmas in your way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it, but you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then. Much good it has ever done me, or will.
There are many things from which I might have derived pleasure, but I have not taken the opportunity. But I have always thought of Christmas time as a good time. The only time I know of in the long calendar of the year, when all men and women seem to open their hearts freely, to think of the poor as brothers and not another race of creatures. And therefore, uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe Christmas has done me good and will do me good. And I say, God bless it.
Oh, hear, hear.
Let me hear another sound from you, Bob Cratchit, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your job. You're quite a powerful speaker, sir. I wonder you don't join Parliament.
Don't be angry, uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow.
Dine with you? I'd rather not.
But why not?
Good afternoon.
With all of my heart, I am sorry to find you so stubborn. In the Christmas spirit, I invited you to dinner. I'll keep this Christmas spirit to the last, so a Merry Christmas, Uncle. And a Happy New Year.
Ah,
Bob, a Merry Christmas to you and to your wife and family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
there's my clerk, Bob Cratchit, with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family talking about a Merry Christmas. Bob!
Very well, Uncle. Merry Christmas.
Good afternoon!
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Do I have the pleasure of talking to Mr. Scrooge or to Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley is dead. He died 7 years ago this very day.
Well, I have no doubt his generosity is being represented by his surviving partner.
Bah!
Sir, during this festive season of year, it's usual that we make some slight provisions for the poor and destitute, who suffer most greatly at this time of year. Hundreds of thousands are in need of common necessities, common comforts.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And workhouses for the poor? Are they still in operation?
Sir, I'm very sorry to say that they're both very busy.
I'm very happy to hear it.
Sir, a couple of us are trying to raise money to buy these poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. We choose this time of year because it's a time when want is keenly felt. What should I put down for you?
Nothing.
You wish to remain anonymous, then.
I wish to be left alone. Since you asked me what I wish, that is my answer. I don't make merry myself at Christmas. My partner Marley never made merry. And I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help to support the workhouses. They cost enough, and those who are badly off must go there.
Well, many can't go there, and many would rather die.
If they would rather die, then they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. It's enough for a man to tend to his own business and not interfere in other people's. Mine occupies me completely. Good afternoon.
I'm very sorry to have troubled you, but sir,
Bah! Good afternoon.
I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Humbug. You want all day tomorrow, I suppose.
If convenient, sir.
Well, it's not convenient. And it's not fair. If I was to hold back half a crown, you'd think yourself ill-used, I'll be bound. And yet you don't find me amused for paying a day's wages for no work.
But, sir, Christmas comes only once per year.
A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th day of December. But I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier next morning.
Yes, sir, Mr. Scrooge. Merry Christmas.
Now, Scrooge lived in chambers which once belonged to his deceased partner, Jacob Marley. They were a gloomy suite of rooms, and old enough now, and dreary enough for nobody lived there but Scrooge. Now, it happened that Scrooge, who knew its every stone in that yard, had to grope with his hands. Now, Scrooge, having his key in the lock in the door, saw in that knocker, it was very large, not a knocker, but Marley's face. Marley's face. It had a dismal light about it. It looked at Scrooge as Marley used to look. The hair was curiously stirred as if by breath, and though the eyes were wide open, they were perfectly motionless. Now, as Scrooge looked fixedly at this phenomenon, it suddenly was a knocker again. He put his hand upon the key he had relinquished, turned it sturdily, opened the door, walked in, and slammed the door with a bang. The sound echoed through the house like thunder. But Scrooge wasn't a man to be frightened by echoes. It was dark in his house, and darkness was cheap, and, well, he liked it.
I love it.
He checked his room to see that all was right. Nobody behind your door there. Nobody under that little stool beside the fireplace? Nobody under the bed? Yeah. The bed.
They're not very ticklish, are they?
Work on that.
We will work on that.
Saying that all was right, Scrooge began the process of going to bed. First thing he did was remove his coat. This may take a little while. I was telling him this may take a little while.
Stop mumbling. I understand the words you say when you mumble.
Your boots, sir.
What about my boots?
You might want to take them off.
Oh.
Second boot.
There's only two.
I know. Your nightshirt.
Pardon me.
trousers. Well, if you want to put it on now, that'll be all right. Your nightcap?
I'd love one.
Yes. I think they would too.
They're smart.
Yes.
Put it on in a minute.
All right. This could get a little ticklish here. Slippers, very good. One, and
Two's all there are.
two. Now your nightcap. Yeah, we did that.
No sense to work these things to death, huh?
No,
No.
not yet.
Later, maybe.
Later, maybe. Now properly attired for bed, Scrooge went over to stand before the fire. Oh, it was a low fire, and nothing on such a night, and Scrooge was obliged to stand close to the fire and lean into it before extracting the least sensation from such a small handful of fuel. A little warmer than you thought, huh? Uh-huh. Now Scrooge sat down beside the fire. His glance happened to rest upon a bell. It was a disused bell that hung in the higher chambers of the house and communicated with other stores of the house. For what reason, no one knows at this point in time. But as he started to look at this bell, he saw it begin to swing back and forth, back and forth. First softly, then so loudly that every bell in the house joined in and rang also. All of this bell ringing must have lasted for half a minute or so, but to Scrooge it seemed as though it was a terrifying hour. The bell ceased, only to be followed by a clanging noise down below, as if some person were dragging a heavy chain across the cask of wine. Scrooge then remembered the ghost of haunted houses was described as dragging chains. Then followed a series of strange sounds, as though feet were mounting the stairs, coming closer, closer toward his room. Scrooge, suddenly aware that some weird happening was about to occur, hugged his shivering body as he waited in fear and trembling.
I know you.
Son the monster.
I know you. Marley's ghost. Now, what do you want with me?
March!
Who are you?
Ask me rather who I was.
Who were you then?
In life I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Well, do it then.
You don't believe in me.
I don't.
What evidence of my reality would you have beyond your own senses?
I don't know.
Why doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. It's like disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You may be an undigested bit of beef, blob of mustard, crumb of cheese, a fragment of underdone potato. There is more of the gravy than of the grave of you, whoever you are. Humbug, I tell you, humbug. Mercy Richard, why do you trouble me?
Man of worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do. I must. But why do spirits walk on earth? And why does it come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow man. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander through the world. Oh, was me! And witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth and turned to happiness.
You are fettered. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it, link by link, and of my own free will I wore it. Do you know the weight of the strong coil you bear yourself? It was heavy, as full as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have labored on it since. It is indeed a ponderous chain.
Oh, Jacob Marley, tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I have none to give. Comfort comes from other regions, Ebenezer Scrooge, and is conveyed by other ministers to other kinds of men. Or can I tell you what I would? A very little more is permitted to me. I cannot rest, I cannot stay, I cannot linger anywhere. In life, my spirit never walked beyond the narrow limits of our counting house. And weary journeys lie before me.
You must have been very slow about it, Jacob.
Slow.
7 years dead, traveling all the time.
The whole time. No rest, no peace. Incessant torture of remorse.
You travel fast.
On the wings of the wind.
You must have got over quite a quantity of ground in 7 years, Jacob.
Oh. Chained, double bound. Not to know that any Christian spirit working kindly in its little sphere, whatever that may be, will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness, not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one life's opportunities misused. Yet such was I. Such was I.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business!
Yes.
Mankind was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. At this time of year, I suffer most. Why did I walk through crowds of my fellow beings with my eyes turned down? I'd never raised them to that blessed star which led the wise men to a poor abode. Were there no poor homes to which its light could have conducted me? Hear me. My time is short.
I will. Yes, don't be hard upon me. Don't be flowery, Jacob, pray.
How it is, I appear before you in a shape that you may see. I may not tell. I have sat invisible beside you for many and many a day. That is no small part of my penance. I am here tonight to warn you that you have a chance and hope of escaping my fate, Ebenezer.
You are always a good friend to me. Thank you.
Hear me. You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance and hope you speak of?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1.
But couldn't I take them all at once and have it over?
Expect the next on the next night, at the same hour the 3rd, upon the next night. When the last stroke of 12 ceases to vibrate, and look to see me no more. No more, and for your own sake, remember what has passed between us.
Now when he had said these words, the spirit walked away from Scrooge and disappeared in the night. It became as it had been when Scrooge arrived home. He tried to say humbug, but stopped on the first syllable.
Humbug.
Then, being much in need of repose from the emotion that he had just undergone, he went straight to bed and fell asleep upon the instant. Now when Scrooge awoke, the chimes of the neighboring church were striking the hour. Old Marley had warned him of the visitation when the bell tolled 1. Scrooge decided to lie awake until the hour was past.
Quarter past. Half past. A quarter to it. The hour itself.
He spoke before the hour bell sounded, which it now did with a deep, dull, hollow, melancholy one. The curtains of his bed were drawn aside, and Scrooge found himself face to face with the unearthly visitor who drew them. It was a strange figure. Its hair, which hung down its neck and down its back, was white as if with age.
Who are you? Who are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past.
No, your past.
Please be gone, spirit.
What? Would you so soon put out the light I give?
Yes. No. What business brings you here?
Your welfare.
I'm much obliged, but I cannot help but think that my welfare would be better served by a night of unbroken rest.
Rise and fly with me.
I'm mortal, I'll fall.
Touch my hand. You shall be upheld.
Lead me where you will.
Now as these words were spoken, they passed through the wall and stood upon an open country road with fields on either side. The city had entirely vanished. The darkness and the mist had vanished with it, for it was a clear, cold winter day with snow upon the ground. Now Scrooge was conscious of 1,000 odors floating through the air, each one connected with 1,000 thoughts, hopes, joys, and cares long, long forgotten.
Good heavens! I was born in this place. I was a boy here.
Your lip is trembling, and what is that upon your cheek?
Nothing. Lead on, spirit.
Do you remember the way?
Remember the way? I can walk it blindfold. Good heavens! There's my school. I was a boy here. Oh, no, kind spirit. I remember too much here.
Strange to have forgotten it for so many years.
Oh, I remember too well.
The school is quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
Yes. Yes, it is. It is I, as I used to be. Poor boy. Yes, it was one Christmas time when I was left here all alone to read about Alibaba. Dear, old, honest Alibaba. And Robinson Crusoe. They were my only friends in those days. I wish that it's too late now. Yes, late on Christmas Eve. My sister Fan came to get me, to take me home with the family.
Oh, listen.
I have come to bring you home, brother, to bring you home for Christmas. Yes, home for good and all. Father is so much kinder than he used to be. He spoke gently to me the other night when I was going to bed, and I wasn't afraid to ask him once more if you might come home. He said, yes, you should. And he sent me in a coach. But later you have to get a job. But for now, we are to be together for Christmas and have the merriest time in all the world.
Christmas with the family. Dear Fan, dear sister.
Always a delicate creature whom a breath might have withered, but she had a kind heart.
So she had.
She died a woman, but had a child.
One child.
Yes, your nephew.
Yes, my nephew Fred.
Although they but at that moment had left the school, they immediately found themselves in a large warehouse. Now it was Christmas time again, but it was evening.
Do you know this place?
Know it? I was apprenticed here. But heavens, there's old Fezziwig. Is Fezziwig himself alive again?
Yo there, Dick. Ebenezer. Fetch the punch, Dick. The cups, Ebenezer.
Dick Wilkins, to be sure. Bless his heart. He was always a little attached to me.
Yo-ho, my boys. No more work tonight. It's Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas time, Ebenezer. Let's have a cup of Christmas cheer. Hilly-ho. Clear away, lads. Let's have lots of room in here. Clear away. Well, there's nothing they wouldn't have cleared away or couldn't have cleared away with old Fezziwig looking on. It was done in a minute. The warehouse was a ballroom. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast substantial smile. In came the Miss Fezziwigs, and all the young men and women employed in the business. And they all came, anyhow and everyhow.
Oh, there was the dancing, and there was a great piece of cold roast, and there were mince pies and plenty to drink.
A small matter to make these city folks so full of gratitude.
Small.
Yes, is it not? He spent very little money, 3 or 4 pounds perhaps. Is that so much that he deserved all the praise that was heaped upon him that evening?
It isn't that, Spirit. It isn't that. He had the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our work light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. No, the happiness he gave us was as great as it cost a fortune.
My time grows short. Quickly.
Now again Scrooge saw himself. He was older. His face had begun to wear the signs of care and avarice. But he was not alone, but stood by the side of a fair young girl in whose eyes there were tears.
An idol has displaced me. If it could cheer or comfort you as I once tried to do, I would have no cause to grieve. It matters very little to you.
What idol has displaced you?
Go.
What? This is the even-handed dealing of the world.
You fear the world too much, Ebenezer.
But I'm not changed towards you.
You are changed. When we were engaged to be married, you were another man.
I was a mere boy.
Your feelings tell you that you're not what you once were.
Have I sought release?
In words? No, never.
In what then?
In a changed nature. I would gladly think otherwise if I could. But I cannot believe you, Ebenezer Scrooge, would choose to marry a penniless girl. You think only of gold and nothing else.
Humbug!
Spirit, take me away from this place and deliver me home. I'd use the light to torture me.
But the relentless ghost pinioned him in both of its arms, and forced him to watch what happened. They were in a room, not a very large or handsome room, but a room full of love and comfort. Now, next to the fire sat a beautiful girl, now a married woman. A sound was heard at the door, and immediately she went to greet her husband.
Welcome home, Dick.
Belle, I just saw an old friend of ours today.
Who was it?
Guess.
But I can't guess. I don't know.
Mr. Scrooge.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
To be sure, Mr. Scrooge it was. As I walked by his office and as his window was not shut, I couldn't help but see him. There he sat, alone. Quite alone. To all the world, I do believe.
Here, take me away from this place. Haunt me no longer.
These are the shadows of the things that have been. They are what they are.
Whereupon the spirit covered its head in a shroud and vanished, leaving behind only distant recollections. Now Scrooge found himself back in his own chambers, and he was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by an irresistible drowsiness. He barely had time to reel into bed before he sank into sleep. Now awakening in the middle of a prodigiously tough snore, and getting his thoughts together, he had no need to be told that the bell was upon the stroke of 1. It was his own room. There was no doubt whatsoever about that, but it has somehow changed. It was a gayer, brighter, more joyous room. And as he stayed upon the chair, sat a jolly spirit, glorious to see, who bore a glowing torch and held it up high so that it would shed its light on Scrooge.
Scrooge! Ebenezer Scrooge! I am the spirit of Christmas present. Come, look upon me. You have never seen the likes of me before.
Never.
Come, Ebenezer.
Spirit, lead me where you will.
Touch my robe.
They went on, invisible, into the suburbs of the town. Now the good spirit's kind, generous, hearty nature, and his sympathy with all poor men led them straight to Scrooge's clerk. On the threshold of the door, the spirit stopped, smiled, and blessed the Bob Cratchit dwelling with the sparkling of its torch. Then up rose Mrs. Cratchit, dressed up but poorly in a twice-turned gown, but brave in ribbons, and she laid the cloth, assisted by Belinda Cratchit, the second of her daughters.
Wherever are your father and your precious brother Tiny Tim? And Martha wasn't this late last Christmas by half an hour.
We have such a nice Christmas Eve. How much longer I can wait?
Merry Christmas, Mother! Martha, dear, bless your heart alive, how late you are.
We had a great deal of work to finish up last night and had to clear away this morning, Mother.
Well, at least you're home for Christmas. Come on, dear, have a seat.
You in church, David? You ready for Christmas?
Hello, dear, how are you?
Well, where's our Martha?
Not coming.
Not come? Not coming on Christmas Day?
Surprise!
Martha, you're here.
How was our Tim at church today, dear?
As good as gold. Even better. Somehow he gets thoughtful sitting by himself so much. And he thinks the strangest things you ever heard. He told me on the way home that he hoped people saw him at the church because he was a cripple. And it might be pleasant for them to remember who made the lame beggars walk and the blind men see. I think he's growing stronger, my dear. He seems heartier. But now, let us have a toast to Christmas. Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us.
Merry Christmas!
God blesses everyone.
Spirit, tell me, I need Tim. Will he live?
Oh, I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner. If these shadows are not changed by the future, the child will die.
No, no, kind spirit, say he would be spared.
If these shadows are changed, no one will find him home. What then? If he should die, he had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Man, if man you be in heart, do not think such thoughts. You decide when men shall live, when men shall die. It may be in the sight of heaven you are more worthless and less fit to live than the millions like this poor man's child.
To Mr. Scrooge, I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of our feast.
The founder of our feast, indeed. I wish he was here right now. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon and hope he'd have an appetite for it.
My dear, it's Christmas Day. Pray.
I will toast to him for your sake and the day's. To Mr. Scrooge, may he live a long and happy life and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Come along, dears. Dinner and presents.
Presents.
Now, by this time, it was getting dark and snowing heavily, and Scrooge and the Spirit went along the streets. It was a great surprise to Scrooge to hear a hearty laugh. It was a much greater surprise to Scrooge to recognize it as his nephew's laugh, and to find himself in a bright, dry, gleaming room, looking at that very same nephew.
He said Christmas was a humbug, as I live, and he believed it too.
Shame on him, Fred.
Oh, he's a comical old fellow. That's the truth, and not as pleasant as he might be. However, his offenses carry their own punishment, and I have nothing against him.
I'm sure he's very rich, Fred.
Well, what of that, my dear? His wealth is of no use to him. He never does any good with it. He certainly doesn't make himself comfortable with it.
I have no patience for him.
Oh, I have. I couldn't be angry at him if I tried. Who suffers most by his ill whims? Himself, always. Here, he takes it into his head to dislike us, and he won't come to dine with us. What is the consequence? He won't lose much of a dinner.
Indeed, he will lose a very good dinner. Oh, go on with you. You're only teasing.
I think I shocked him yesterday, but I mean to give him the chance every year, whether he likes it or not. He may rail at Christmas until he dies. I defy him. If he finds me going there year after year in good temper and saying, "Uncle Scrooge, how are you?" and "A Merry Christmas, Uncle Scrooge,"
Well, I hope you shocked him. Something needs to shake him.
oh, enough of this talk of Uncle Scrooge. It is Christmas Day, and I have a new game to play. It is called Yes or No. I have to think of something, and you must figure out what it is. I only answer yes or no to your questions as the case may be. Now, I'm thinking of something.
Is it an animal?
Yes.
A very disagreeable animal.
Yes.
Does it growl and grunt sometimes?
Oh, yes, definitely.
A tiger?
No.
A dog?
No.
A pig?
No.
A bear?
No.
Oh, I know what it is. I know, Fred.
What is it?
It's Uncle Scrooge.
Oh.
But you should have said yes, it's a bear.
Well, he's given us plenty of merriment. I say Merry Christmas to him, whatever he is. He wouldn't take it from me, but he may have it nevertheless. A Merry Christmas, Uncle Scrooge, and a Happy New Year.
My time on this globe is very brief.
It ends tonight.
Tonight?
Yes, tonight, at midnight. The time is drawing near. One final warning. I see the writing that spells doom, unless the writing can be changed.
Is there no refuge?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses for the poor?
Scrooge looked about him for the ghost and saw it not. As the last stroke ceased to vibrate, he remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley. Lifting up his eyes, he beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground toward him.
Am I in the presence of the spirit of Christmas yet to come? You are about to show me shadows of things that have not happened but will happen in future. Is that not so? Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any specter I have yet seen. Will you speak to me? Lead on. The night is waning fast, and it is precious time to me, I know.
Now the ghost conducted him through several streets familiar to his feet. They too entered poor Bob Cratchit's house, where they found the mother and daughters seated around the table. It was quiet, very quiet indeed. Mother and daughters were engaged in sewing. Mrs. Cratchit laid her work up to the table and put her hand up to her face to hide the tears.
The color hurts my eyes.
The color?
Yes, it makes them weak. There. They're better now. I would not show weak eyes to your father. He should be coming home soon.
It's rather late, but these last few evenings, I think he's walked a little slower than he used to, Mother.
Yes, he used to walk quite quickly with Tiny Tim upon his shoulders.
And I've seen him often, but he was very light to carry.
Yes.
His father loved him so.
Yes, it was no trouble. No trouble at all, but now he's gone. Oh, there's your father. Your tea, dear.
I praise your needlework, mother and daughters.
You went today, Bob?
Yes, my dear. I wish you could have gone. It would do your heart good to see how green a place it is. But you will see it often. I promised him I would walk there on Sundays. My little child, my little Tim.
Don't grieve, Robert.
Yes, he wouldn't want that. Well, I must tell you of the extraordinary kindness of Mr. Scrooge's nephew, whom I've scarcely seen but once, and whom I met on the street today. Seeing as I was just a little down, he inquired what had happened to distress me, on which I told him about Tim. And he is the kindest spoken man you have ever heard, for he said to me, I am heartily sorry for it, Mr. Cratchit, and heartily sorry for your good wife and daughters. And then, if there is anything I could do to be of service to you in any way, handing me his card, he said, that is where I live. Pray, come to see me. It seemed as if he had known our Tim and shared our sorrows.
He must be a very kind soul.
Yes, yes. I know we must all part from here someday. But I know that however and whenever we part from one another, we shall none of us forget our Tiny Tim. Or this first parting there was among us, shall we?
No, never.
And I know when we recollect how patient and mild he was, although he was but a little child, we shall not quarrel easily among ourselves and forget Tim in doing so. I know He's resting now.
The spirit then took Scrooge to a busy city street where they overheard two people talking.
I don't know much about it either way. All I know is the old man's gone.
When did he die?
Last night, I do believe.
What was the matter with him? I thought he was too mean to die.
Oh, God only knows.
What's he done with all his money?
You know, I haven't heard. Left it to that little company of his, I suppose. Didn't leave it to me, that's all I know.
Well, it's likely to be a cheap funeral, for upon my life, I can't think of anyone to go to it. So let's think of a party and volunteer.
Now that I think about it, not sure I wasn't his best friend of all. We used to talk whenever we glanced at each other. It's cold, isn't it?
Seasonable for Christmas time. Merry Christmas to you.
And a Merry Christmas to you, too.
Spirits, place importance on a conversation so trivial. Is there some hidden meaning? They could scarcely be speaking of the death of old Jacob Marley, for his death is past. And your province is in the future. Spirit, who was that man? That man who had no one come to his funeral?
Phantom spread its dark robe before him for a moment, and they found themselves in an obscure part of town, a place where Scrooge had never, ever penetrated before. He recognized its situation, however, and its bad repute. The way was foul and narrow. The whole quarter reeked with crime, filth, and misery. Now, far in this den, there was a shop where iron, old rags, bottles, bones, and greasy offal were brought. Upon the floor within were piles of rusty keys, mountains of unseemly rags, sepulchres of bones. Sitting there amongst the wares he dealt in was a dirty, gray-haired rascal about 77 years of age. Scrooge and the Phantom came into the presence of this old man just as two women with heavy bundles slumped into his shop.
Here now, first.
No, Mr.
We don't here without reason. Here now, I said I'm first.
I'm first, Miss Dilber.
Here now, ladies, one at a time. Well, we couldn't have met in a better place. We three are well suited to our calling. Yes, well matched we are.
Everyone has a right to take care of himself. He always did.
Who's the worse for loss of few things like these? Not a dead man, I suppose. No, indeed.
Quite right, ladies, quite right indeed.
Why, if he wanted to keep him after his dead, he should have been nice in his lifetime. If he had been, he'd had someone to look after him after he's struck with death. Instead of lying there gasping out his last breath all alone by himself.
Truer words were never spoke. The judgment on him.
I wish it were a heavier one, 'cause I could have laid me hands on anything else. Open the bundle, Joe, and let me know the value of it.
No, Joe, my bundle first.
Oh, all right. Open her bundle first if it'll please her ladyship.
So it is, woman. Let's see, what have we got here?
Get your hand out of there.
A silver spoon, pair of sugar Twinkies, sheets, towels. Ah. 10 shillings for that.
Oh!
I always gives too much to the ladies. It's a weakness of mine. Ask for a penny more, and I'll bet a been so liberal and knock off half a crown.
Done.
Now me, bundle Joe.
Oh, Deborah, what have you brought old Joe? What do you call these?
Bedclothes.
Bedclothes.
Bedclothes? You don't mean to say you took them off and why he's still lying there?
Yes, I did, Warnock.
You were born to make your fortune, you were. And you'll do it too. But I don't suppose he died of anything catching.
No, you don't need to worry about that. You can look that shirt through and through, not find a hole in it. It's the best he had, and a fine one too. But I'd have wasted it on him if it hadn't been for me.
What do you mean, wasted?
Putting it on him to go to the grave.
Oh.
Someone was fool enough to do it, but I took it back off again. That's the end of it, you see. He frightened everyone away in his lifetime to profit us when he was dead.
Spirit, I think I see. My own life tends to be a little like that unhappy man's. Spirit, who was that man? That man that no one loved. Spirit, why do you bring me here? This graveyard.
These are the shadows of things that might be. Man's lives foreshadow certain ends. Yet, if the lives be changed, the end will change. Look closely at that headstone.
Ebenezer Scrooge. Am I that man? That man that no one loved? No, kind spirit. No, no, no! Spirit, hear me! I'm not the man I used to be. I will honor Christmas in my heart and keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. I will not shut out the writing that they teach. Oh, tell me I may rub away the writing on this stone. Tell me!
Holding up his hands in one last prayer to have his fate reversed, he saw an alteration in the phantom's hood and dress. It shrunk, collapsed, and dwindled down into a bedpost. Yes, and that bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all, the time was his own in which to make amends. Old Scrooge was so flustered and so glowing with his good intentions that his face was wet with tears.
I'll change things. I will. I know I will. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as happy as an angel. A Merry Christmas to all the world. A Happy New Year to everyone. Hello. Hello there. I don't know what day of the month it is. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby, really. It's okay. I'd rather be a baby. Hello. Hello there.
What say?
What's today, my fine fellow?
Today? Why, Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it after all. My fine fellow.
Yes?
Do you know the poulterers in the next street, at the corner?
I should hope I do.
An intelligent boy. A remarkable boy.
Yes.
Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there? Not the little prize turkey. The big one?
The one that's as big as me?
What a remarkable boy he is. Yes, that's the one.
It's hanging there now.
It is? Well, go and buy it. Go and buy it and bring it here, that I might give you directions. Come back in less than 5 minutes, and I'll give you half a crown. I'll have to take it to Bob Cratchit's house. And I shan't tell him who sent it.
Yeah.
Twice the size of Tiny Tim.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Oh, those spirits. I shall love it as long as I live. Well, don't show yourself now.
Hi.
Here's an address. Here. Doing it again, are you? Here's an address in Camden Town. Take it there. Mr. Bob Cratchit. But don't tell him who sent it.
Hey. Did he pay you? Didn't think he did. Go back over there and talk to him about that.
Bug out!
No. No. Young man has struggled with that huge turkey. He needs paid.
It took him longer than 5 minutes.
No. No, paid.
It took him.
Oh, no. No.
All right. Here you are.
Now get turkey, get out of here. I don't know about these youngins these days, you know.
I do know.
Yeah. The chuckle with old Scrooge said this, and the chuckle with which he sat down on his bed, the chuckle with which he paid for the turkey, and the chuckle with which he paid for the cab, and yes, even the chuckle with which he paid for the boy, were only to be exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat there and chuckled on the side of his bed until he cried.
Sad.
Feel better? Okay, good. Let's get you dressed and out of here.
All right.
All right. First thing, remove your slippers, sir.
That wasn't so tough, was it?
No, not so far. There we go. Good deal. Your trousers.
My trousers.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do with them?
Put them on.
All right.
Can't help you, buddy. I'm sorry.
You haven't helped me all evening.
Haven't helped you in years doing this either.
And yet, there you sit.
There I yeah.
Talk.
Yeah, just talk. This may take a bit.
Well, there's a lot more to this than there appears to be.
Apparently. All buttons?
What?
All buttons? No,
Yeah.
no zippers.
No.
Zippers can hurt.
Zippers weren't invented for another 100 years. You're so smart.
Getting close?
Don't you worry about me. Mind your own business.
I mean, there's 2 or 3 of these people like to get home.
Well, how about that?
Who are these people in your house anyway?
I don't know. Wouldn't believe the night I had.
Been rough, huh?
Rough?
Yes.
Rough doesn't describe it at all.
Yeah.
An horrible night.
Horrible?
horrible.
Now, I saw some people wandering in and out. I wasn't real sure what that was all about. But
What in the devil are you doing here anyway?
I just sit here, man. Just show up, meander around, and sit down. Got them all fixed now?
Yes.
Your nightcap.
I'd love one.
Yes, I was talking to the lady innkeeper. She said she wasn't opening that door this evening.
So much for that.
Yeah.
And?
You want to put your boots on, or you want to take your shirt off first? All right. You're going to take the shirt off.
Don't get mouthy.
I'm not. So rude.
Tell me you're not.
Yeah. Your hair's a little messed up.
What?
Your hair. It's a little messed up.
My hair?
Yeah. Your hair. That's got it. Looks back to normal like it should. Your boots, sir.
You know, sometimes this gets very difficult.
Yes. And let's see, your jacket.
My jacket.
Yes.
How does my hair look? You might tell me the truth. I'm not sure he would.
Oh.
Thank you.
You have a hat somewhere as your hat, sir.
Oh. My money back.
Your money back. Now, properly attired, Scrooge then went out into the streets. Oh, I'm sorry. You want a drink first?
Yes.
Okay.
How difficult it is to get a drink of water in this show?
Apparently about as difficult as it is to put your pants on.
I told you don't get mouthy with me.
Come on, let's get out into the streets. There's people over there, people over here wanting to come on stage.
Come on, I did.
Okay, you're out here. Come on. Now this time the people were starting to pour forth.
They were not either.
No, they were. There comes one of them. There it is.
Don't.
Scrooge regarded everyone he met with a delightful smile. He even went to church. Yeah, you.
The church?
Yes. Yes.
Presbyterian?
Yeah. That one right down the street. Big pipe organ and everything.
I suppose that'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. But that evening he turned his attention toward his nephew's house. Oh, he walked past the door maybe a dozen times or so before simply working up enough courage to go up and knock.
Cheap sound effects. Your Uncle Scrooge. I've come to dine with you. Will you let me in, Fred?
Let him in, Fred, please. It's a miracle he didn't shake his arm off. Nothing could have been more wonderful of a party. It was a wonderful party.
Wonderful party.
One of the finest parties that Scrooge had ever been to in his entire life.
Wonderful party.
But the next morning, Scrooge was early at his office. Oh, he was early there. If only he could be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late, and that is exactly what he did. 9 o'clock, no sign of Bob.
No Bob.
A quarter past,
No Bob.
still no Bob. Cratchit was a full 18 and a half minutes behind his time. Now Scrooge sat with his door wide open so that he might see him come through the door. Cratchit was on his desk, driving away with his pen, as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock.
And now, I'll tell you what, my fine fellow, I'm not going to put up with this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I'm going to raise your salary. I'm going to raise your salary and endeavor to help your struggling family. We'll discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking ale. But first, Bob Cratchit, buy another ton of coal before you dot another I.
Yes, sir, Mr. Scrooge.
Now Scrooge was better than his word. He did all of this and infinitely more. And to tell him, who did not die, incidentally, he became a second father. He became as good a friend, as good as a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old place for that matter.
Wonderful party.
But he lived so that it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well. And if anybody possesses that knowledge, may that truly be said of all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim so eloquently observed,
wonderful party.
God blesses everyone.
Wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry
Jesus.
Wonderful party.
Messing with mom and dad in here.
Want some more?